All right, are we ready? Are we ready?
Oh, yeah.
That's you. All right. Class. Okay. Anyway. All right. So I know everyone's going to be paying attention, right? 100% attention, not working on their study plan. Sure. Okay. So definite integral. So everyone has the app on their calculator for the Riemann sum now. So hopefully that part's going to be a lot easier. And for the first example right here, I actually gave you guys all the notes for this. And did you get this 5-2? Okay, take that. All right, so Riemann sum. So this one right here is for the function x squared minus 3 from 0 to 6. Okay, partition the interval into 4 subintervals. Okay, here are the 4 subintervals. And so that's going to be my left side and right side. Oh, someone didn't come pick it up yesterday, or yes, you did? Okay, so put the hat back on whichever one's missing. No one's missing a hat. Oh, I'm missing a calculator then. Okay, so here's my subintervals. It's already put here for you. From 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, and 4 to 6. Now, does it say equal intervals? Say no. It doesn't say equal intervals. So that's actually one of the things you need to read as you're reading through this. So if it's equal intervals, you would actually have to go 6 minus 0 divided by 4. And this is going to give me my delta x, just like we were doing before. But this one right here is not doing that. And so that would be super important, because sometimes it's going to give you a table, and you have to use the table with the left side and the right side. But this one right here, everything's already given to you, so you do not have to do this. So in my case right here, this is going to be, let me see, 3 over 2. If I were to do this one like this, into 4 subintervals. So there's the subintervals. Use the left endpoint of each subintervals. So let's look at this. So if we're going to do each one of these, it's going to be a rectangle. Okay? So what is the width of this rectangle right here? 1. So my first rectangle is going to be 1 times. Now, it's a left endpoint, right? So which one am I going to plug in? Am I going to plug in the 0 or the 1? I'm going to plug in the 0. So if I plug in 0, that would give me what as a value? Plug it into my function. Yep, I'll have negative 3. So, plus the next one. Okay, the next one right here. So right here, it's going to be, what's that going to be? It's 1 again, right? 1 again. Okay, left endpoint. So is it going to be 1 or 2? Yep, it's going to be 1. So I plug that into my function. And that's going to be, is that negative 2? Yeah, negative 2. Plus, now we just did that one. Now we're on this one here. What is my width right there? Yeah, that one's going to be 2. So it's 2 times, I'm plugging in, which one? Is it the 2 or the 4? It's the 2, right there, right? So 2 squared is 4, minus 3 is 1. Plus, now we're on this one. What's the width? 2 times, is it the 4 or the 6? It is the 4. Okay, so it's going to be 4 squared is going to be 16 minus 3, 13. And then as I do my math, I'm going to get negative 3 minus 2 plus 2 and plus 26. add them all up, and I should get $24. So these two will cancel each other out, right? And then I have my -3, and my positive 26 should be 23. There you go. Okay, now we're going to do it again, but this time we're going to do the midpoint of each sub-intervals. So the midpoint. So that one's not going to affect the width, that's going to affect the height of the number that we're going to plug in. So let's go and figure out what is, my width is still going to be 1 for my first interval. Let me change colors just so we could actually see a difference. So this is still going to be 1 as a width, but then I'm going to plug in the midpoint. What is the midpoint in between 1 and 0? 1/2 or 0.5, right? So I would plug that in as 1/2. So it's going to be times f of 1/2 plus okay, next one, my width is still 1 times, now what's the midpoint in between 2 and 1? 1.5 or 3/2, right? 3/2, so it's going to be f of 3/2 plus my next one. So I am over here now. So that one right there, my width is still 2, and times f of, what's halfway in between 2 and 4? 5/2. So it's going to be 4 minus 2, right? 4 minus 2 is going to give me what? Divide that by 2. No, wait. Why did I say minus? I was thinking of the other one. So it's actually 2 plus 4 divided by 2. So isn't 3 right there directly in between 2 and 4? There we go. So if you think of it like that, then you're like, oh, yeah, all right, yes. So I teach geometry, so it makes it even worse. So I'm like, all right, am I adding or subtracting again? Okay. There we go. All right, so 3 plus my last one right here, the width is still 2. What is halfway between 4 and 6? 5. There we go. See? F of 5. Now, here's a neat trick I'm going to show you with the calculator. Because the calculators are your friend, the more that you learn how to use it, the better you will be in life. All right, I'm going to go to the graph and I'm going to put in my function there. I'm going to put in my function. My function is x squared minus 3, right? There you go. It's going to look like this. Yes? Good. I'm going to go back to Scratchpad right here. And I'm going to start entering in my values. So my first one was 1 times, now this is where you're going to find it. So this button right here that's next to delete is called vars. If you click on that, it's going to give you your functions. You could actually have a whole bunch of different functions here. So those f of g's and all those, like those, yeah, you could use that. I'm going to use f of, and then my first number was 1/2, right? Plus, my next one was 1 times my function, and was it 3/2? I think so, 3/2, right? There we go. Plus 2 times my vars of this one was 3, and plus 2 times my function, that one was it 5? 5, okay. There we go. So this is the way you try to do these ones if it's given to you. So if you already have your intervals given to you in a table like we have here, it doesn't say equal subintervals. If it says equal subintervals, that's why I left this, because I did the equal subintervals for each one. So I went through and I found out what my subinterval would be. So I went 6 minus 0 divided by 4. So each delta x, so each one is going to be equal. So I made them all equal parts. So this is almost exactly what we were doing before with the previous set of notes. So I added this on here, and I added a graph so we could see what it is going to be for each side. So we had an interval here, 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 and going all the way up to here. And then the next one, I did it again. There we go, add it all up. And by doing it that way, with equal parts, it's 117/4. And then from here, I did this again, same thing, as the midpoint of that same, but that's using equal parts. So you don't have to try and make it as complicated. I just wanted to give you guys another set of notes that actually goes over with all the ones with equal parts. Now that you have the Riemann sum on your calculator, let's see, document, I think it's open. You guys could just find it in your regular documents. I have to go search because it's in like all my entire computer. There you go, Riemann sum. So I'm going to do the Riemann sum. RIEMANNSUMS. So just open up the program by typing it in. Our function was x squared minus 3. Our left interval was it 0? I think so. Yeah. So 0. Our right interval was 6. Number of rectangles. So if I was going to do equal parts, 4 rectangles. 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 4 There we go. So this is the one that was the 117 over 4. And if we did the right sum, and then there was the one that we had for the midpoint. So you could, if they're equal parts, you could use the Riemann sum program to be able to get your answer there.
This is for your advisory.
No. Anyway. Continue from our interruptions. Oh, okay. All right, so next one. So it says approximate from 1 to 9. Here is my equation here. X minus 3 squared dx. So this is my function here. And my intervals from 1 to 9. And I have my delta x partitioning from 1 to 9 into 4 subintervals, each of a length of 2. So let's try this out. So if I were to do this, let's see. To figure out my thing, my intervals, I would do b minus a divided by n, and that's actually 9 minus 1 over 4, which is still going to give me 2. So this one right here, it told me what my intervals are. It said find the subintervals, but it also give you, this is my delta x. So I have a delta x there, so I could just do each one if I'm going to do this by hand. And then we're going to do this one right here as the left sum, right sum, and midpoint. So I want you people right now, plug this in the calculator. Plug it into the calculator. Hopefully you guys remember, because I just went over. It's in documents, it's in transfer file. Did you get the calculator update? Here. I need your actual calculator for this, because I have to update yours. That's not a good place for it. Why is that? Oh. I thought I gave you guys charging cables too. Did you lose it? I didn't?
You only had 2.
I use my own cable for my phone.
Oh, okay. All right, don't forget your parentheses as you're plugging it in. All right, this is what you should have. Left sum should be 48. Right sum should be 112. Midpoint should be 72. And trapezoid, which is something different, which we'll eventually get into, just not today, is going to be 80. That make sense? Yes, no, maybe, possibly, on occasion. All right, so, and if you want to go over the steps I went through, and right here, oh, that, forgot, that was from the AP question. So I went through and did each one here. All right, And so, guess what? Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button, support my channel, buy stuff for the merch store. I'm not gonna worry about this homework right now. This homework is gonna be due after break. So I will post it, but I don't want you guys worrying about it right now unless you're caught up with everything else. So, study plans to do the retakes.